Got a sec. Here we go. I forgot the microphone again. Good morning all. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Hopefully this is coming through loud and clear. Here we go. Oh, hello. It's becoming a daily routine, isn't it? Forget the microphone and forget that the phone is turned up from whatever, watching YouTube last night, I suppose. Sounds like we're coming through pretty good. Lots of activity. I think we had 60 odd on just before I jumped on. That is incredible, a great start. We did break our world record, or at least my channel record yesterday, with I think a peak of 117 on all together and roughly about 400 views during the time that episode went out. Now, look, I don't expect to break that again for some time, but thank you to everyone that is helping to build the momentum of this channel. It's really encouraging. It gives me, it's a really positive thing for myself to be doing this, and hopefully it's bringing some positivity into your life as well, because it certainly is for mine. Tell your friends, share with the camera clubs. I know a lot of nearly all the camera clubs are paused of activity for the time being to some degree. Some are doing some online stuff, some aren't, but we join here every day at 10 a.m. Sydney time. Everyone is welcome. Feel free to hit that share button down below. Keep that momentum going. We've got some incredible things happening in this week and the weeks coming. I've been chatting with a lot of Australia's best photographers. Well, not a lot, to be honest. I've picked out about 4 or 5 so far, and look, everyone has said yes. They're not all ready to go right now, but we have 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃 on Thursday. Let me show you. Did I have an image of hers here ready to show you? 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃 is going to be breaking down this image and showing us all how this image is put together, all the little fine details. Like, you might not notice so much. I mean, the image is just absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Just absolutely spectacular. So if you're interested in this style of illustrative photography, then absolutely pencil in your diary. Thursday morning at 10 a.m. we're going to be going live with 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃. Now, look at some of the things she's going to be going through is, look at all this detail that has been placed in behind these windows. Okay, and the shape, you won't believe the images that she started with and how this was created. It's only a low-res image, so don't judge the zoomed-in factor. We've got so many people here. Let me just have a quick hello. Anthony, Neville, Mark, Phil, Michelle, Jeffrey, Maribi, Graham Carroll, Graham Gall, Kushla, Terry, Gay. There's a lot of names here that are here most days, and thank you so much for supporting. It's because of you guys that the momentum of this channel or this particular project is building so well, and it's because of the audience that we're going to be able to pick up, some really great presenters. I'm doing my best, but we're going to get some other people to help us out, mix it up a bit, different styles, different take on photography, all that kind of good stuff. Where was I? Linda, Kushla, Gary, Karen, Robin Moon. Hello, Robin. Good to have you here. Malin, Lian. Sorry, I'm hopeless at reading names out. I don't even know why I committed to doing this. Cheryl, Mars, Karen, Kylie, Michael, Karen again, Peter, Gay again, Jeffrey. Anyway, Douglas, Peter. I could go on all day here. 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃 is here. Hello, 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗃. She's going to be, of course, as I said, joining us here on Thursday. Annette, Sandy. My good mate Doug Porter's with us most days. Hello, Doug. Alec. I recognise that name. He's an Easy Way student. Peter Hammer. How are you, mate? Peter, you give me a hard time sometimes, but I love you anyway. All right. Enough of that. Peter Hammer, a very talented photographer in his own right as well. Great to have you here this morning, mate. I wonder if this is your first time, mate. If it is, anyone first time with us, we do this every morning at 10 a.m. Sydney time. The best way to make sure you never miss out, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the little hit the little bell, which will give you a notification on your phone and send you an email. All good stuff. You'll never miss out then. If you enjoy what we do, I would love it if you could hit the like button. Hit that like button. It all helps to support the channel and tell YouTube that this is worth watching. What else? Obviously share with your friends, as I said. Was there a couple of other things? Oh, down below is my most popular Photoshop course. I say this every morning, but if you're interested in learning Photoshop, particularly the demonstration we're doing today, my most popular course, I've now changed the pricing structure to pay whatever you like, including zero if you're doing it a bit tough. The course is a couple of hours long, but it will give you weeks, months, years of entertainment in processing your images. So if you're interested in what we're doing today, why not sign up on that particular course below? There's a lot of students here. I'm sure they'll tell you it's worth signing up. Well, hopefully they will. Maybe they won't. Oh, what else have we got this week? Tomorrow we're going to delve back into those 3D shapes. We're going to make some cubes and some pyramids and some other things and some other surrealistic type of photography. That's going to be a lot of fun. Everyone seemed to enjoy the Sphere workshop yesterday. If you weren't here yesterday, check this out. And we started with a normal photo of clouds, and where were we? Right back here. That background there, roughly. And we did something a bit crazy, a bit funky. Now, it's not for everyone, but it certainly was fun. I had fun. I hope you had fun too. If you missed that one, jump back, click on my video, or go to my channel, click on the video tab, and it will be one of the first videos there. Click on that, watch that through. You can also access the follow along files. Bit of fun. We're going to revisit that tomorrow. Thursday, Sue Ellen Cook. Friday, we're going to have a photo critique. I've got a lot of images. I sent an email out to my email list yesterday, and we've got heaps of images ready for critique on Friday. A lot of fun. Next week, some more big name photographers and some more fun. Hey, Trish from NZ, first time watching. Hit the subscribe button and see if your name pops up in letters on the screen. A little sneaky way for me to get more subscribers. Your name will pop up on screen if you do it whilst during the live stream. Okay. Rita Kluger. Is it Kluger or Kluge? Sorry, Rita. I shouldn't have even gone with the second name. Great effort. Love you, Rita. Good friend of mine. I think it's Kluger. All right. What am I talking about? What am I doing here? I'm all lost and embarrassed. Here we go. This is what we're doing today. This is what we're doing today. That doesn't help, Rita, when you just write your name exactly the same as it was written before. All right, never mind. You can give me a call later and tell me as I go beetroot red, which is a trait of mine which you haven't seen too many times just yet. Anyway, this is without the R. I'm not even going to try. I'm getting Klug. Is it Klug? Am I getting that right? Give me a thumbs up if I'm getting that right instead of Klug. All right. Anyway, we haven't done any Photoshop yet, but hopefully it's been fun and entertaining watching me try and spit out some names and get them all wrong. We won't do that every morning. We're going to get into some Photoshop. We're going to take this raw file. This is an old raw file. In fact, it's having you guys over there in the comments is hilarious. This is an old raw file. It's about 10, 12 years old. It was when I first got my Nikon D800, and I'm still using the same Nikon D800 today. And I was in Western Australia, southwest Western Australia, down near Margaret River, beautiful wine and food and landscape and scenery region of Australia, one of my favourite places. And I took this shot. It was one of the first shots that I'd ever captured on that Nikon, as I said. And look, to be honest, I was like, that's pretty ordinary. But I was excited because I heard that recovering the details and the shadow on a Nikon D800 was pretty revolutionary at the time. It was the next big thing in photography. And it seemed like I had all the details, but, you know, raw files are terribly uninspiring. If you've ever captured a raw file and it looks like this, or in actual fact, most of my raw files look somewhat like this, lifeless and a bit dull and a bit boring. and all those kind of things. It's because raw files are designed to be that way. They're designed to capture the maximum amount of information, and then it's up to us to bring them into Lightroom or Photoshop and make them really explode with light and pop. This is what I ended up doing. Now, don't judge me. It's an old edit. I think it's okay. I think it's all right. Let me know. Yeah, it's over the top, but we know that that's what I like to do. So we've gone from there, raw file, to that, finished file. Woo! Need my sunnies on. That is a bit glaring and a bit eyeball singeing. Anyway, we're going to try and replicate something along the lines of that. Maybe we'll get a little bit more refined. Looking over at the comments and you guys giving me a hard time. Anyway, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun. All right, let's jump into it. What we're going to be doing is pretty much using the beginner, my Essentials Beginner Workflow course to replicate this particular style here, okay? So really get that light and the vibrance exploding out of this image. Now, normally with one of my images, when I first start out, I ask myself, what are the interesting elements of this particular composition? What was the reason why I took the photo in the first place? Well, the reason why for me was this beautiful little turquoise bay. It doesn't look terribly turquoise at this moment, but if you've ever been down to southwest Western Australia, it has this beautiful, almost tropical turquoise coloured water along the coastline there. So I found this little turquoise bay, and then there was these beautiful, what looked to me at the time to be very rich orange rocks, and this was a sunset, and look, there was some beautiful colors in that sunset as well, but because I shot this with, I can't remember if it was a 10 stop and the 6 stop filter, so the 10 and 6 making a 16 stop long exposure. I think it might have been just a 10 stop, because if it was a 16 at sunset, I would have been there till the next day. There wouldn't have been enough time. So it was probably the 10 stop. It might have even been the 6 stop. Doesn't really matter. Let's have a look and see the information on how long the exposure was, if it will tell me. Camera data. There we go. 156 seconds. So pushing up close to a 3-minute exposure. Okay, so a long exposure by any terms. Now, let's jump in and do the workflow. If you're interested in learning this workflow, as I said below, the course below is now choose to pay whatever you like, including zero. So, sign up. And look, if you do choose to pay any sum of money whatsoever, well, number one, thank you very much for that. It all helps keeping me do what I'm doing and paying for the groceries, etc., etc. And number two, if you do pay a sum of money and you get in there and the course is not up to scratch and not for you, just email me and I'll give you the money back in any case, okay? So don't feel like because you've opted to pay that you can't claim the money back guarantee that I have there too. Alrighty, let's do it. The first thing I'm going to do is do a little bit of color correction because this image has a lot of blue in it from those Lee filters. I now use 𝗖𝗵𝗄𝗃 filters, and there was one other thing I wanted to mention. 𝗖𝗵𝗄𝗃, I'm a reseller for 𝗖𝗵𝗄𝗃. I haven't mentioned that throughout because I don't like really plugging too many different things, but 𝗖𝗵𝗄𝗃 rang me yesterday and said, how about we do a competition and I donate a prize for you guys? Sounds good to me. How about you? So I'm going to set up a photo competition through this YouTube channel and through the Easy Way Photography Facebook group. I will tell you some more details about that next week when I set up the theme and how we're going to do it. But the really exciting thing is I'm going to narrow down the competition to a final of about 16 images, and then I'm going to judge them live. 16, maybe a few more, and we'll judge them live and we'll come up with the winner live on YouTube one morning at 10 a.m. Stay tuned for the details of that next week. Let's do a color correction. So the way we would do this, so workflow step 1 in my workflow is all about converting the raw file in Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw. We convert that in Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw, a raw converting program. That is workflow step 1. I'm not going to go through that right here. As I said, all those details are in the course below. But workflow step 2 is the file correction. Let's run through workflow step 2 rather quickly here. I'm going to press Command or Control J to create a duplicate layer. I can double click where it says layer 1 there and call this one color correct. I don't personally name my layers because I generally know what they're all doing because of the order that they're in, and I can always just turn them on and off to see what they're doing. But if you like to name your layers, and for this example we will do so, color correct layer, we move up to the image menu, adjustments, match color, and we're going to click the neutralize button here. Let's see if this works. Yes, it did. Now this doesn't always work. As in Photoshop, pretty much everything doesn't always work, but there are always other ways of getting around it, and there is another color correction technique within my intermediate and advanced courses if that one doesn't work. If it doesn't work, for the time being, just skip that step. Next step, I will straighten the horizon. I'm not sure, it does look a bit wonky. Click on the crop tool or press C for crop. Click on the straighten icon, a little builder's level up there, and I only have a little bit of horizon here. All I'm going to do is click and hold and drag across. Now when we're straightening the horizon, we're not trying, can you see my little icon there has a number. It currently says 14.3 degrees. We're not trying to get that number at 0, for example, like that. No, what we're trying to do is line it up as parallel as possible with our current horizon. That looks perfect. You can see I have 0.9. This will vary depending on your image and how level your horizon is. When I let go, you'll see the image just tweak there. Tweak straight, okay? And it has now set up a crop ready to go. I'll just click crop and we have a straight horizon. Pretty good. Excellent. Okay, next step. I would normally do dust removal. Image of me should be bottom left. Bottom left, as in down there, covering up the comments. The reason I have it at the top right is because it doesn't cover any of the comments up for my image, but I'm open to suggestions if you think my image should be bottom left. But it will unfortunately cover up the most recent 4 or 5 comments, which is why I have it up the top. We won't do dust removal. You'll find the details of that in the course below. I can't see any dust in this. It was a relatively new camera and the sensor should have been okay, hopefully. Okay, but we will do auto curves. Auto curves is amazing. I'll tell you what I need to do is just move Photoshop up a little bit so you guys can see. Is it going to work? Move that up. That's better. Move that down. That's better. So you guys can see all those icons properly. Okay. Oh, it's covering. Okay, sorry, I understand. Let me just tweak that. There we go. There we go. The joys of having those comments in live stream, I can eventually figure out exactly what you're referring to. I can't see my profile picture on the screen that I have. I've removed it away from the file menus now. Thank you guys, we got there in the end. Okay, auto curves. We're going to do auto curves, which will automatically adjust the contrast level, the brightness level, and the color to some degree of our images. Let's see how this goes. Come down to the bottom, the little white and black icon in the bottom right corner, the little circle, half black, half white. Click on there, select curves. Click the auto button. The properties panel will pop up. Click the auto button and this will give us that automatic adjustment. Not bad, but we're not finished yet. If we hold down Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC and click the auto button again, we get these options. And it's just a case of flicking through and finding the one that we think is the best. And look, to be honest, often this makes a much bigger impact on the image than what this one is doing. They're all a bit ho-hum, aren't they? I think the original one there, which is a bit brighter, is better. Although it's blowing the sky out a little bit, pushing the sky too far. So we'll stick with that one for now. It's a bit flatter, and you probably think, well, you know, it's a bit flatter, maybe push it a bit harder. But what I don't want to do, if I push too hard, I'm going to lose the elbow room to push this file around as we progress. So that's the end of workflow step 2, pretty straightforward. Next step, workflow step 3, where we're going to add the impact, add the wow factor, add all those cheesy terms that we love to say on a marketing level, but that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to try and make this image really explode with light and vibrance. Now, normally, as I said, the first question I ask is, what are the most interesting areas of this image? Why did I take it in the first place? As I said, the reason I set up here was because of this turquoise bay and these beautiful orange rocks. The reason I was there at that particular time of the day was because the sun was about to set and I was hoping to get some beautiful colors in the sky. I decided on a long exposure. Okay, that was something I was into back then, go through phases. So that's what we have. So in this particular image, normally I isolate where I'm going to really add the impact rather specifically, but here we're talking about the bay, the rocks and the sky. It's pretty much the whole image. So we're pretty much going to really give the entire image a bit of pop. Let's do that. First of all, I want to lighten up the rocks. Let's do that. Lighten them up a little bit. Come down to our little black and white circle here, the adjustment layer icon. Select curves. Curves will do all of our brightening, darkening, and contrast adjustments. To brighten, we place one point in the middle. Just drag up a little. Probably a bit much there, to be honest. Something like that. I try not to push up too much in any one layer. If I want to brighten more, I just do 2 or 3 adjustments. Command or Control I to invert. B for brush. Let's set up our brush settings. You can see down here that I currently have black on my brush. The default is white on black like that. That's what we want. Click that little icon to reset that back to pure black, pure white. Coming up here, let's get this drop menu. You can see my hardness is at 100%. Pretty much always paint at 0% hardness. That's that little menu there. You can also access that by right-clicking in the center of the image. Opacity, 30% is my go-to. I go into more detail in the course about why, the why behind all of these settings. I won't do that now. 50% for flow. And with a white brush, just quickly, let me invert that mask back to white. So we brighten this layer up, and you can see currently that is affecting everything. Okay, that's because this is the mask here, and the mask, let's view it as a window or think of it as a window. When the mask is clear or white, it allows the adjustment through to the layers behind, through to the image behind. So it's affecting everything. When I invert the mask to black, Command or Control I, you can see the adjustment layer is still active, but it's not letting the adjustment through to the layer behind. Now, when I clean the window with a white brush, we can apply the adjustment exactly where we want that adjustment to go. So see how as I click, 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 we're lightening up some of these areas. Perfect. Maybe a little bit in the water there. That's looking good. Okay. A technique that you won't find in the beginner course, but you'll find in a previous video called, if you click on my video tab and look back for the 2 techniques to make your photos really pop, I think it's called, something like that. It's called painting with pure sunlight. We're going to do that to try and really paint sunlight across that foreground, like the sun has just hit a hole on the horizon and bathed the entire scene in sunlight, beautiful golden light. Solid color. Sorry, I went a bit quick there. Adjustment layer icon again, the same place. Choose solid color. The reason you won't find it in the beginner course is we focus on structure. We build that structure first and foremost, and then in the intermediate and advanced courses, we add all those beautiful little techniques for really making the most out of all your images. We're just going to choose an orange here, click OK, And in this case, for the pure sunlight technique, we change the blend mode to color dodge. Okay, you can see the sky has gone crazy over the top. The foreground's okay, but it's a bit pinkish, peachish. I want it more yellowish, orangish, more like sunlight. So we'll double click back on that square. Double click there. And you can see if I move this slider down, you would come around as you go through the bottom, you come around and come back to the purples. So that's the pinkish. I actually need to shift this up. That's better. Let's go a bit crazy. Okay, that's well over the top, I think you'll agree. Click on the layer mask, Command or Control I. Bit of a difference, wasn't it? We will lower the opacity down around 10% there, and look at this, my favorite technique. I'm sure it's soon going to be one of your favorites too. Look at that, we'll just paint it on, we'll pretend the light's coming down from this edge, so it should be pretty much where it kind of is. You can see where the highlights and where the shadows are currently. Bit of a bigger brush there. We'll do a little bit across the water, and we might even do a little bit in the sky. What do we think? Before, one technique, before, after, before, after. Declan, 1:35 AM over there, mate. I hope my voice helps you get to sleep, mate. I know a lot of my students say that is the case, that I have a soft, soothing, boring voice that helps them get to sleep, I think. Anyway, back in the old days when I first started, some of the older videos were much more slower and sleepier. Anyway, let's keep on moving. That's looking pretty good, isn't it, though? Okay, let's add a little bit of contrast, which will really help pop these rocks. Add a curves layer. So again, the black and white circle, curves. And you'll know by now that I'm going through my box of tricks, applying them into the image, and I'm kind of wondering whether we're going to get anything special out of this or not. But that's the way Photoshop kind of works for me. I just start editing. Sometimes I have a vision, sometimes I don't. I start going into those box of tricks to try and achieve that vision or try and make something of the image. Most of the time, for the first 80% of the processing, I'm kind of just floundering around trying things, and then all of a sudden, one particular layer will kick it off, and I'll feel like I'm on the home stretch, and we go racing down the hill to the finish line. So far, most of the live streams have ended relatively well. Fingers crossed we can do the same here. So contrast, we can add a couple of points. One about a quarter in from each end, basically. The one down towards the bottom we pull down, and the one up the top we push up. It's not exactly what I was hoping for. Let's just drag those points off the graph. So we're back to a fresh graph. Grab the little hand icon. This one's called Split Curve Contrast. Little hand. We move over to the rocks. You'll see a little pixel jumping up and down the graph. We will click on a bright rock and a shadow rock, or a bright section and a shadow of those rocks there. We're focusing just on this far bank. You can see I now have 2 points on the graph. Normally I would just pull the top one up, and that's really quite nice. Let's go with that. Command or Control I to hide it behind the black mask. B for brush, and we're only going to paint in this section. That's good. All right, let's work on these wet rocks here with a similar technique. Curves, little hand, a bright and a dark. You can see it's a bit lower on the scale. Give that a little pop. Yeah, nice. Command or Control Invert. Obviously in my courses I go a lot slower, and the tuition spans out over a couple of hours rather than just 20 or 30 or 40 minutes. Okay, so you can be assured in that. That's looking pretty good. I want to add a little bit more sunlight up on the top of this hill. Let's see if we can do that with that solid color layer. So adjustment layer icon, solid color, choose an orange, that will do. Click OK. Change the blend mode to color dodge. That's actually pretty nice. Again, you can see it's made area of the image look like a nuclear bomb has gone off, but this little hill, which I'm only looking at, is absolutely perfect. When I'm processing, I only look at the section that I want to lift. I don't really worry too much. Look at that. That's working. That is. We might be able to use it just to hit those highlights around here and over here, there and there. That has given that image a great lift already. You can see I kind of sprayed the brush up into the sky. Let me just feather that into the sky a bit more. We could use a blend if or a quick selection mask, but the soft round brush does the job most of the time. That's looking great. Let's darken the sky down a little bit to add some more drama and maybe some vibrance into that sky. Curves layer, darken down, one point in the middle, just darken that sky down. That will do, probably a bit much. Command or Control I to hide that. I'll lift my opacity of that brush up a little bit. We'll darken the top of the sky to help keep our eye down into the central region of the image. Marie says the screen is out of focus. It might be buffering at your end. How's everyone else's screen? Is it coming through pretty good, pretty clear? Try messing around with your quality settings and maybe that will fix that up. Karen says mine was out of focus too, but she refreshed and it's better again. So try that. Try refreshing the screen and see if that gives a better result. Okay, that's pretty nice. Okay. Let's add a little bit of contrast into those clouds. Curves layer, I'm still sort of bouncing around hoping for this to make sense. Curves, we'll grab the little hand. I want to add a little bit of contrast into this area here. That's a bit better. Most everyone else is saying all good, which is great to hear. Command or Control invert, B for brush. A little bit of contrast down on that horizon there. Perfect. All right, let's pop the water with contrast as well. Curves, little hand again. We're really giving that a run today. This is called split curve contrast, where you grab this little hand, find a light section in the area that you're going to try and pop, and then find a dark section in the area that you're going to try and pop. You can see it places 2 points on the graph here. Pick up the, look at this, pick up the light one. Maybe we'll drag that down. That's looking pretty nice. In fact, there's the turquoise water that I'm looking for. Command or Control I. Pamela says try 720p in the settings. That seems to work pretty well for her. And we'll brush that in. As I said, if you're interested in this workflow, I have that course down below. Choose any number that you wish to pay. I'm completely okay with you taking that as a gift. Absolutely. The more people photoshopping and producing beautiful art, absolutely the better. Okay, that's looking pretty nice. Look at that, one little technique. See how it really brought out the textures and the colors in that water? Let's add a little bit of color wash. I think color wash, and we're getting to the end of the workflow to be honest, I'm fingers crossed, color wash is going to bring this image to life, and I think it really will. Once again, adjustment layers icon, once again solid color. Slightly different though, we're going to use a different blend mode. Now normally I would use an orange, and let's start with orange, but I think the sky might really benefit from a little bit of pink or purple. Let's go with orange first, click OK, and change the blend mode this time. You'll find the blend mode up here, it says normal. Click on that menu, go to soft light. Oh yeah, that's a little bit of promise, a little richer, particularly in those rocks there, I like that. But let's just have a play around. Double click back on that icon and just click around with the mouse. Brighter, More saturated up here? No, thank you. Darker down here? No. Just using your basically just your intuition. What looks good to you? Just bounce around. What if we change the color to more yellow? Yeah, I quite like that. What if we go more red? The sky I'm liking, but not the foreground. So I think the more yellows are better. Yep, something like that. Click OK. Let's have a look before we paint that in. Yeah, it's kind of taking away some of the orange or the peachy tones and actually making them a little bit more orange, isn't it? Yeah, maybe not everywhere and maybe not full percent. So let's click on the mask and invert that brush. And I liked it particularly back here. Maybe the sky could do. Bigger brush. Sweep through the sky, get some orange up into that sky. A little bit down here, not so much in the water, maybe just a little in the water. That's looking good. That's looking good. Nash Hall says, I'm a master. Nash, I'm not feeling like a master this morning, but we're going to get there. That's the thing with Photoshop. Trust me, you'll get 80%, 90%, 95%, even sometimes 99% through an edit, and you're not feeling it. It's just not working. It's not coming together. And then just keep playing. We've only got essentially 3 things we can tweak. We can tweak the color, we can tweak the contrast, we can tweak the brightness. Just keep tweaking different combinations, play with the hue, play with the saturation, and hopefully, eventually, it comes together. Now that's looking pretty good so far. Let's add some purplish, pinkish into the sky. See if we can get a bit of magenta in the sky. Solid color layer again, giving it a great run this morning. We go with a purplish, something like that. Once again, we'll change this one to soft light. Oh yeah, I like that. Do you like that? I do. Particularly up in that purples, picking up the purples in the top of the sky. Beautiful. Command or Control invert. And it gives the image a little bit more interest by combining the purplish color with that orangish color in the foreground. Now we do want to maybe sweep a little bit of the purple through the foreground too. Not too much, just to tie everything together. Now that might be a bit too much. Let me double click back on this purple color. Something like that. Yeah, okay. I want the sky to really come to life, and that's what I'm really having trouble with. Let's add a little bit of saturation and see if we can get something out of it. Hue saturation layer. Hue saturation layer. Let's just pump the saturation. This is mainly for the sky. Woo! I mean, modern art. You keep doing that for long enough and you'll probably make a name for yourself. It's a huge risk though, isn't it, in the long term? And you'll be laughed at a whole bunch. Trust me, I'm used to being laughed at and to a certain degree being judged for what I produce as an artist. Particularly with my latest work. I haven't had the confidence, I suppose, to share my latest body of work with this live stream yet, but I certainly will in the coming days or weeks. It's a bit out there, it's a bit edgy, it's very personal, so you can understand why I'm a little bit shy as to sharing it, but you're also supportive, so it will be a great thing to share it with you anyway, I'm sure. Let's invert that to black, and I just want to paint this on. But I suppose why I brought that up is, you know, look, being an artist, if you're going to share your work on Instagram or social media, you are going to be judged for it. People are going to tell you that they do or don't like it. If everyone's telling you that they love it, look, I like to be in a place where there's a bunch of people telling me that they don't like it because I know my work is edgy. And there's always a percentage of people that really, really do like it as well. So if you're in that place where you have people telling you that they don't like your work, not on a technical level, just on a purely aesthetic level, they're telling you they don't like it, they don't appreciate it, then you're probably on the money. You're probably doing something really good, really edgy. And if it's really personal to you, then keep doing it. Don't listen to those others. All right. We're kind of getting there. Let's add another solid color wash. Ah, one-eyed photographer. I know, we went out shooting together, didn't we? Try using a saturation mask. G'day, Peter, thanks for that. I don't even know what a saturation mask is, to be honest. I'm sure they're great. They're probably a luminosity style mask, but that's all good. I don't know everything, and I don't know what that is. Okay, let me keep on going. We're going to add a vignette here. Curves. Peter will tell me what a saturation mask is, won't you, Peter? Peter, don't listen to others. Yes, mate, exactly. Do what you like. We're going to add a vignette. See, when I pull from the middle, it gets very contrasty and very saturated. So I'm going to pull from the top here and the middle, and we'll add a little bit of a vignette around there. B for brush. And we'll just darken the sky. That's looking nice. Darken down here. We might even darken the water back down a little bit here. Oh no, or maybe with a softer brush. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. A little bit too much saturation here and here. Let's just tidy that up. Use saturation. We'll just drop the sat down. Perfect. Command or Control invert. Take a little bit out of there. 𝗵𝗃 says saturation masking is like, which I thought it was, it's like a luminosity mask, but it's based on levels of saturation rather than levels of luminosity. Yeah, absolutely. I've never learnt those techniques because I've never really needed them until right now. But no, trust me, you can get away with some very, very basic techniques and make some incredible, like I only have to, for example, the great artists of history. Let's take the Romantic artists, for example, the Romanticist movement. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google image search the Romantic painters, or just Romanticism, landscape Romanticism. And these painters, look at the incredible depth, light, drama, emotion, detail that they get from the most basic tools. Just simple brushes, you know, small brushes, big brushes, color washes, glazes, all of these types of things. They're not using the ultra technical, you know, whatever, masks, this, that, or the other that we rely on in Photoshop. Absolutely, sometimes they can make the job easier. They can. But as far as luminosity masking is concerned, I do use luminosity masking, but I use a type of luminosity masking called Blend If, which is a lot easier because it's slider based. And in fact, we'll do an entire Blend If tutorial in the coming weeks, and I'll show you how easy it is, and I'll show you how powerful it is. In my opinion, you need to learn one of two things. The two most powerful techniques in Photoshop are luminosity masking and Blend If, which is another form of luminosity masking. You need to learn one or the other. Luminosity masking will probably take you a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months to be comfortable with. Blend If, I think I can get you comfortable in about an hour, and have you using it and reaping the benefits of it. So that's a little example about why I use Blend If instead of luminosity masking, is because I'm lazy and I like the most simple way to create my images is the best way. Okay, as long as we're not sacrificing any form of quality. And the difference between Blend If and luminosity, well, there is no difference. It's just that Blend If is easier. All right, we're looking pretty good. Let's just take a little bit more saturation out of there. Less accurate, the better, more realistic. Yeah, imperfection is a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm not saying sloppiness is a beautiful thing, but imperfection is certainly a beautiful thing. Timothy Moon, a good friend of mine and a very knowledgeable person on the world of art and design. Okay, how are we going? I'm feeling like I need to add another color wash just to finish this off. Let's go solid color. And I'm feeling like we need a warmer tone just to wash the image. Let's see. Could be wrong. Oh yeah, it's a bit over the top, isn't it? But let's just double click and bounce around. Very, very different to my original. I'll give it that. Yeah. All right. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Let's have a look where we came from before. There we go. There's the raw file. Bit flat, bit lifeless. I'm going to turn this on and get an absolute shock, aren't I? Let's turn it back on. Oh no, actually, it's not too bad. I thought it was going to be eye-burningly saturated, but it's actually not that bad. It's pretty nice. Maybe that's a bit saturated, maybe that's a bit saturated, but I like the color combinations. I quite enjoy that. Flavio, g'day Flavio, he says he's loving the color in the water. Yeah, I quite like the color combination of the turquoise and the orange. I think that works really well. And then the sky has the blue and the purple in it. And it's tied back with the orange link. I'm quite enjoying that. Okay, guys, so that was a bit of an interesting way. Let's have a look at the old one. Do we like the new version? Very, very different, isn't it? This has got a very gold and green look to it, particularly the sky as well, whereas this one's much softer with a more orange, purplish tone to it. I think I prefer the subtlety of this one. Wow, it makes that one look completely over the top. Okay, I think that's it for us. I think that's it. So once again, if you enjoyed the video, sorry about, I was a bit off topic today, wasn't I? I got a bit distracted by the comments and pronouncing names and this and that. It's one of the things that I fear actually is I'm hopeless with names and pronunciation. So Rita, incredible artist. If you've look up 𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃, did I get that right? Look up her name and you'll see an incredible website of dolphin and whale and underwater photography. Absolutely beautiful. Hey, Locke, come and say hi.
Hi.
This is my little boy, Lachlan. And he's got a piece of chocolate cake. Is that for me? All right, mate, I'll come out in a sec.
Who is it?
Hey?
Who is it?
Who is it? I don't know. We've got a whole bunch of different people chatting with Daddy.
Can you come play Batman after?
Yeah. Okay. He wants me to play Batman on the Nintendo Wii together. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? All right. Where were we? Okay. Thanks, everyone, for watching along. Another great day. I'm not sure how we went for the numbers. Peter says there's no wrong or right. Absolutely right. Do your thing. Push your boundaries. Be creative. Don't listen to what everyone else says. Now, I look, just quickly while I've got you there, probably half of you have probably turned off, but we'll talk about this on another day as well. In the early days, when you first take up photography, a lot of it is about trying to please other people, and it's part of the learning curve. Okay, getting more likes and producing pleasing images on Instagram and Facebook, etc., is kind of part of the learning curve, and that's what we all tend to do in the beginning. But after 4 or 5 years, you might start to lose that mojo, and that's just your inner creative voice saying, hey, give me more meaning, give me more purpose, give me more personality, give more of yourself to your art. And that's, you're going to find that stage, that junction at some point in your artistic career. And if you get to that junction, you pretty much have two choices: to get more personal and more meaning and more authentic, I suppose, with your photography, or slowly peter out as the excitement sort of wavers. You know, because what's happening is your inner creative is looking for something new, some more excitement, some more meaning and some more purpose. And taking your photography down a more personal path is a really good way to bring back the passion, bring back the excitement, and bring back the energy into your photography. Sometimes when we do that, though, we need to ignore the thoughts of others and just keep pushing those boundaries. So finishing up on that note, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was a bit of a tough one for me, but I eventually got there in the end and produced something that I think's, you know, better than the original, in fact. If you're interested in learning the workflow, take a look down below. As I said, choose whatever price you like, or just accept it as a gift from me. Thanks again for watching along. Tomorrow we're going to do the 3D tutorial again. Tune in at 10 a.m. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.